Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion, and welcome back to Destiny 2. This week, both the last week of Season of the Chosen, and we are going to be delving into the trailer for next season. If you have not watched it yet, I shall play it for you here, just so you can catch up on all the goody-goody music and all the goody-goody smashy.
This morning, for the first time in humanity's long and storied history, the sun did not rise. It's a Vex simulation that has plunged the city into an endless night. Osiris and I could only think of one we might turn to. Mithrax. He claims to be among the last sacred Splicers. Those with the power to commune with machines. Find him, Guardian. Before the Vex do.
We must splice an entrance to the Vex network. I can guide you, but I cannot follow. Once inside, you must find your own way. Gather your light and prepare for battle.
Now, important details regarding the plot. Another Vex season. I'm going to be honest, I feel like a lot of people will be disappointed in Bungie because there has been some rumors that Season of the Splicers was actually happening. There was a few confirmed things out of the store because of source code and stuff that I think when people heard Season of the Splicers, they actually thought they were getting their Season of the Plague, aka a SIVA season. I'm gonna be honest. I'm happy for the plot, like the story wise, where this is going, because this is an interesting one to me. But I feel like a bunch of the community is gonna get a little bit mad just because they've been wanting a SIVA season and calling one Season of the Splicers and almost not seeing SIVA anywhere initially. It's hard to say whether or not there's actually gonna be some initial backlash over this, just because I know people really want their SIVA back in Destiny. I would like to see it back, but I don't know. I'm not a knucklehead for it. But either way, going through and seeing some screenshots and looking at some important details. So, basic plot line. The first city is being plunged into eternal darkness because the Vex simulations have kept the sun from rising. Which, for those that don't know, that is actually very bad for our ecosystem. A lot of things would go very bad if the sun never rose. And that's just to say plants, not to mention humans. People would actually be affected. It's not even just about coal. We would start to become weak. We wouldn't get certain resources that humans would need. But moving on from the science bit, so the Vex have, of course, kept the sun from rising, and we need to seek help from Mithrax. The last time we heard about Mithrax was during Beyond Light's campaign, where Mithrax was a house of essentially refuge for those of Eramis's fallen that wanted to get away, that did not believe in her cause anymore and wished to seek refuge. The last time we did hear from him prior was during Season of the Drifter. Mithrax is who gave us Outbreak, so to say. In terms of the lore, as come to think of it, this is another fight against Eramis. One of Eramis's top lieutenants tried to break into the old tower and basically steal SIVA to try and use it Mithrax knew of this, and he implored us to try and stop it. And in the process, with this, Aramis didn't get her hands on SIVA, and we got our hands on Outbreak Prime. But aside from that, of course, moving forward, there is a bit more details. We get a full-on look at season pass gear, whether that also is the season weaponry or at least ornamented armor. It's looking actually very cross Vex and Fallen. Now that I look at it, it looks like old Fallen tech that got corrupted by Vex tech. And I'm really liking the look of this. It's a little bit old metal, and I gotta admit I like the hunter helmet. That's very creepy. The Warlock one has that one looks cool too, but I don't know, that looks spooky. It looks like a Dead by Daylight mask. But of course, going forward, the next detail that they decided to launch was Season of the Splicer and the Vault of Glass. Now, they didn't release much. They're still keeping a lot of this close to the chest. They released the details on the world's first race, and the footage that we saw of the raid so far still hasn't told us anything other than the stuff that everyone already knows. They showed us a little new intro cinematic for Vault, Venus looking exactly as it did before. They didn't go through like a darkness shift or anything. It's going to look bright and sunny. And we've seen the door open, but we didn't see anything else inside. And looking through the trailer, I couldn't catch any glimpse of old Vault weapons. I could definitely tell there was weaponry. I'm pretty sure that was seasonal though, because it looked a lot like the armor. So they're still, this is their ace high. This is their last bastion for this season. If the season is rough, then the season is honestly has a fallback just because we can play Vault of Glass all day. Unless they somehow screw that up. Which I have serious doubts that they could. Moving forward, of course, we got a new look at the Season Pass exotic, which I can already feel the anger in Crucible happening. Because for those that didn't see, this is one of the first evidences we've gotten of our first stasis weaponry other than Salvation's Grip. Now, it looks like it's actually functioning like a sidearm as opposed to Salvation's Grip where it functioned as a ice cube maker. So this one, it looks like it's actually performing as a normal sidearm, and then after either kills or precision hits or something, the Guardian would swap out a mag, energize its sort of like symmetry or trying to think of something else that does that. I can't think of it off the top of my head for some reason, but basically it swaps out the mag, and then it fired an instant freezing shot at a goblin that he then hammer stroke and just smashed it. I can already see, depending on whether or not this is hits or kills, this being an absolute nightmare for Crucible. I mean, it was annoying when the Warlocks had an instant freeze with Penumbral Blast that could hit you from miles away. A sidearm that could do it, that's just going to be annoying. But of course, then there was a few more screenshots of note that we see. There was a look at the new weaponry. This is the machine gun that we saw for a brief moment in first-person view. It's looking nice. It was hard to tell the archetype just because firing and often the times in these trailers are not dependable. But at the same time, it's looking clean. This new set of weaponry is looking pretty good for the season. And of course, then there was one new thing regarding stasis aspects that I think is going to be creative that I like. I'm not sure where it's going to go though, depending on how it affects Crucible too. Now, at one point, I think this is a Warlock ability, but we see, I think, Cold Snap and Ice Flare bolts going off on a few goblins, and then we see a stasis javelin appear on the ground like a Valkyrie, and then another Titan just runs, picks it up, and then chucks it. So, we're going to have additional weaponry because of stasis stuff. So, they did say they were expanding stasis, and that was the first of the aspects I could tell. So, we just got to go from there. That looks like it could be a cool thing, could be a cool build aspect, but at the same time, we just got to see whether or not it goes terribly for the sandbox. And of course, one last little screenshot, the final wallpaper, showing off Mithrax and his Fallen, and our dates this season goes from the 11th to the 12th, so next week from this video to approximately 3 months from then. And we also get a better look at Mithrax, surprisingly. It looks like Mithrax also lost an arm, and he's rocking mostly mechanical arms, of course, And it did say he was the last of the Splicers, which I don't think he was a double Splicer. At least, like, when we saw him the first time this season, the Outbreak, he was a normal captain. So it's probably after all this, he probably became a Splicer, air quotes, but a sacred Splicer as opposed to a devil Splicer. So I would say all the perks, none of the drawbacks. Maybe. But of course, it still looks like he did lose an arm, and he looks a little more machine than Fallen anyways. But either way, it's another season of former enemies coming to be our ally. Which I'm excited for this whole season. It's like the Avengers setup. It's like once we got 2 seasons before Witch Queen. And now we've got a Cabal ally in a way, at least somebody we have former relations with and some that can be decently trusted. We have a former Awoken enemy, now ally and Crow. Now we have Mithrax, a former Fallen ally and assistant to us with House Light. And if there's another one of these people that is a former enemy that comes back next season might be the return of Rasputin or something. Who's to say? But aside from my ramblings and lore and all that, that is all for now. If you enjoyed the video, a like and comment and whatever you wish to do would definitely benefit the channel. And aside from that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video where we're actually covering what is new with Reset and more with the usual Reset biz. And I'll see you then.